Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is way back. Walk the ball. Taylor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. Matt, there's not really a whole lot of good news at a major league-wide level right now, but we do have some good news if you're a Dodger fan. Joe Kelly recently on Dodger Talk with David Vassay had this to say about a potential reunion with the Dodgers. Quote, "As for the whole lockout thing, once it's over, obviously, we're all going to sit down. The teams are going to be signing. The signing period is going to be like basketball. People are going to be signing at 4 in the morning. Obviously, I want to come back and be a Dodger, and the interest is mutual, so we've got to make something happen." Matt, obviously he wants to come back and be a Dodger. The interest is mutual. Are you excited about the possibility of Joe Kelly coming back?
I think a little bit. I think it's just an overall positive development for the Dodgers in general, just because, with the bullpen, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen with Kenley Jansen. He's probably unlikely to return, especially if, maybe the Dodgers try to get him on something that's really team friendly.
Yeah.
Whereas with Joe Kelly, Andrew Friedman said it at the time after the team declined their option for this season that they did have interest in still, re-signing him. And it appeared, there were some suggestions that was mutual. And so now Joe Kelly has basically confirmed that.
Yeah.
And that's despite, the Cardinals were reported as kind of checking in on a possible reunion before the lockout began. And they've still been mentioned as one of the teams that, may come back and kick the tires again once the lockout does end. So I think it's good for the Dodgers, especially I think if Joe Kelly wants to be back. They obviously, like I said, declined the option for financial reasons.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that they're going to be able to work something out that's, going to still be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, so the option was they had to pay him $4 million if they wanted to cut him, or I believe it was an $11 million team option.
$12
million. So essentially by cutting him, they had to pay him $4 million, but they saved $8 million. And from my perspective, I was like, he's probably going to make 7 or 8, so why not just keep him on a one-year deal? Well, the more I thought about it, I think it was Daniel that pointed it out. The reality is by cutting him, it actually would, if they were to re-sign him for $8 million, it will actually lower his cap number. So if they sign him for like a 3-year, $21 million deal now, his number would just be $7 million, not the $11 million or $12 million that it would have been. So I think that was important for me to realize, so I'll pass that along. I'm curious for you, Matt. Joe Kelly at $8 million or Kenley Jansen at $12 million, who would you rather have?
It's tough. I think I'd have to see how many years for each.
Let's say 2 years for each.
I'd probably do Joe Kelly. Well, no, I'll go Kenley Jansen.
Because at 2, I mean, is there a number at which it's Kenley? I imagine you want shorter years on Kenley's side.
Right. And I mean, frankly, even 3 for Joe Kelly, I'm not sure I would do that. I think 2 years for both.
Yeah.
You could talk me into. But under the scenario you just pitched, I would lean Kenley a little bit more, just because I do believe the Dodgers, as much as they kind of went away from, saying, oh, well, they did say Kenley is our dedicated closer, but they obviously are flexible otherwise in the bullpen. I think having him there to be that kind of bona fide closer is beneficial.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would take Joe Kelly, which I've joked on here. Like 2 years ago, I was the idea that I would be saying after the end of his contract that I wanted him back was crazy. He was terrible in his first year, but since then, really good. I mean, 2.67 ERA with the Dodgers over the last 2 seasons, obviously used in a variety of roles, and I think that's the advantage that Kelly brings versus a guy like Kenley Jansen, which is Kelly is comfortable in all sorts of roles. Kenley Jansen, if he comes back, like the only role he is going to want is to be getting the ball for the final 3 outs at the end of a game. Joe Kelly, the flexibility to come in the 5th inning if there's a jam, the 7th inning, just sort of the ability to set the bullpen up, I think is what's valuable for Kelly. And as much as I look at the bullpen and I say, hey, I feel pretty good about the way the Dodgers are constructed, and they're honestly running out of roster spots on both the 40-man roster and guys who can be on the opening day roster in the bullpen. I think Kelly's the one reliever I would really be interested in adding back into this bullpen. Obviously, they've added Daniel Hudson, Caleb Ferguson expected back, and so Tommy Kahnle potentially as well. So you've got some guys that are back in the mix, but I just like Kelly. I like the way he's pitched. I like his stuff. I like the demeanor that he brings. I think there's a toughness and an attitude that he brings that the Dodgers desperately need. And so for me, if the Dodgers can get him back, this always made sense. He's an LA guy. We know that. He seemed to fit in great. It just seemed like this is the type of thing that when you have a guy who's comfortable, it's like the Justin Turner thing. Like, you're not really in a rush. You don't feel the need, like, to sign this guy right away, maybe like you would have a Corey Seager. It's like, Joe Kelly will still be there. They've probably got an agreement. It's probably not about him wanting to leave as much as, like, if we can get the numbers close, then we'll keep him around. So, again, Joe Kelly on David Vassay's show saying that obviously he wants to return to the Dodgers, and his reporting is that the interest is mutual. He's expecting some things to pick up as soon as the lockout ends, and so some good news for the Dodger fans there. That's Matt Moreno. My name's Jeff Spiegel. As always, check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media for all the latest news and updates. We appreciate you joining us. As always, subscribe, ring the notification bell here as well, and we'll see you next time.